wait a minute. Is it morning for you?
No, it's nighttime. The moon is up. My kids are about to go to bed. It's just past 8 o'clock at night.
Wait, that means you're not in Switzerland, does it? Where are you at?
Oh, well, I can actually show you. I'm round on the other side of the world from Switzerland. If you just kind of turn it around a little bit, there's Switzerland up there in Europe somewhere. And you just kind of spin it around a little bit. We're going to cross the North Atlantic Ocean, cross over Venezuela, keep going across the South Pacific, keep going past the seam in the globe, and you're going to arrive here in New Zealand.
Hey, right down there you are.
There you go.
Can you tell everybody who you are, what you do?
Certainly. Okay, so I'm Claudia Robin Gunn from Auckland, New Zealand. I write music for kids down here in the South Pacific. I play the ukulele and the guitar, tiny bit of piano, but not so well, just kind of plonking away. And I have 2 CDs out for kids that I've been doing over the last few years. My new one, Little Wild Universe, just came out. It's all about space and stars.
Oh yeah, her new album is so good.
Thank you, Sagan. Thank you, virtually through the internet and the World Wide Web. How wonderful. And my previous album is Little Wild Lullabies, which is kind of a bedtime chill out album. That was from when my babies were really small, and now they're nearly teenagers.
So, is that why you started to write children's music for your own kids?
Absolutely. Like probably many people who switch their attention when they suddenly find themselves surrounded in piles of washing and really unable to leave the house. Not anything like the global situation at all. I was already in a band, and we made electronic music actually. And that was a little bit tricky to go out and do nightclub gigs when you had a baby at home. So I started making some different kind of stuff on the side.
Okay. And then, so do you only make kids music, or do you still make some electronic music now? The kids have already...
I do, yeah. I do make some electronic music. Our band's called Substacks. And we've actually kept on making music all this time, just on a very underground way, in the sense that we'd kind of get these hard-won recording sessions and create some songs and then go, oh, that's great, okay, let's make another one. And none of it's out. It's all sort of sitting in our kind of archives waiting for the day when we break free and let it loose. So it's kind of electro house meets breakbeat. Some of it's quite chill, like lots of the stuff I write is really folky. So if you can imagine folky singing mixed with kind of crunchy beats, that's kind of what the songs that I write with them sound like. But the guys in my band also write much more dancey music and much more sort of gritty, interesting stuff as well.
Okay, so, but none of your kids' music use some of that influences?
Well, I think I've kind of brought a little bit of it into the most recent album. So in Little Wild Universe, I actually started learning how to do more production myself. And so I sequenced a lot of the songs to start with, just kind of learning how to use GarageBand and kind of working out the instruments and the layers. And so I definitely kind of went closer into that territory with some of these songs. And actually, Nick in my band is going to be doing a remix of the song on the album called Juno. So I'm super excited to hear what he does with it. That's going to be like my two worlds colliding in the most awesome way.
Well, I mean, it would make sense if you wrote your first album when your kids were small, and now you have your second album when the kids are older. I mean, kids do tend to... I mean, my 10-year-old daughter's listening to Billie Eilish at the moment.
Well, totally. My daughter's 10 too, and yeah, she is much the same, and she's always telling me, Mum, can you write some more songs that we're going to like now? Because, that's all when I was a baby. So you start right to order in the sense of, like you say, what the kids around you want. So I definitely find when I go visit friends with babies, I'll write much more little kid music because I'm really inspired by what they respond to. And then when you go into school, you notice what kids who are sort of 5 or 6 relate to. So there's definitely this great, glorious spectrum in terms of how to just use your imagination, but then work out how to connect with kids at different levels.
Definitely a big challenge sometimes, eh?
Yeah, and sometimes, to be fair, I'm not scientific, I'm not a teacher, so mostly I approach kids' music purely as a songwriter, and so I write it, see what happens. I'm influenced by my kids and their friends and the news and weird things I read online and just pictures or history or books I read, and then I see what happens, and then whatever it is, I'll go, okay, well, I think this might work for this, but I'm not really a writer to order kind of person.
Well, what's it like to make music, kids music in New Zealand? Are there a lot of music? Are there a lot of kids musicians? Is it a big scene like in Australia? Because Australia is quite a big thing, isn't it?
Totally, yeah. Australia is amazing, and they're our neighbours. I admire heaps of great artists there in Australia, and one day when we're all allowed to travel again, I'd love to go across and do some shows with some of the artists I love over there. But we're really lucky here in New Zealand that we've got, it's a small but really tight-knit and supportive kids music crew. We're really lucky, I'm sure in Switzerland, do you have organisations that support songwriters? So they're the people who pay the royalties when your song plays on the radio, and you kind of get reports from them, and they are really supportive, those kind of organisations, because they're trying to help songwriters be sustainable and actually, be encouraged to write more music. So here in New Zealand, our association is called APRA, and APRA New Zealand, because they've also got an APRA Australia, they helped set up about 10 years ago or more a group called Kiwi Kids Music. And you've heard that New Zealanders call themselves Kiwis, like our strange big flightless bird. So if you ever meet a Kiwi, a New Zealander, you'll always hear them called Kiwis. And so our group's Kiwi Kids Music, and we've got a website, and it really exists to help families discover that we do have music, created by people like me, just mums in their homes, or there's a whole range of incredible people from the north of the North Island to the south of the South Island, and beyond, really, even Kiwis who are expats and living in Australia or the UK.
So what's the address of that site so we can go find out all about Kiwi?
Oh, awesome. Just Kiwi, Kiwi, kidsmusic.co.nz. And it's a really beautiful space where you can find pretty much, I wouldn't say it's all, because the nice thing is we're a really tight-knit crew, and we're always trying to encourage people who are out there. A lot of teachers, for instance, write music but might just use it in their classroom, and they don't share it any further, but they're just sort of learning how to kind of tap into the music industry. But there are creators who are doing amazing things in all kinds of towns, and so part of what Kiwi Kids Music is doing is trying to encourage and support people at any level, if they're interested or already writing for kids. How can we do it better, or how can we connect and share ideas and work out how to reach people?
Is there any other names that you want to drop from Kiwi music, kids music?
A lot. Oh my God, where do I start? Oh my God, so many cool friends. Well, I can drop a few names of people that I've written with, which I'm super lucky to have done a bit of collaborating with. My friend down in Nelson is Kath B, and we wrote a song together a couple of years ago called Making My Way. And Kath is, definitely an incredible, prolific, active songwriter who actually has her own radio show too, called Fresh FM in Nelson.
Is that a kids' music show?
It's a kids' music show, yeah, and yeah, on a sort of a community radio station that she organises. So she's fantastic, and I highly recommend your listeners tune in to Kath B. She's got just oodles of gorgeous music out there in the world. Down in Christchurch, there's a really beautiful little crew of creators. My friends who I've been writing some songs with that aren't out yet are the Itty Bitty Beats, and they're two mums, Lucy and Jenny, who work together as a duo. And they're a great team. Their husbands are musos too, so I'm so jealous. I just do this all on my own. But they have this whole kind of family thing going on where one of the husbands does the recording, another one makes videos, and they're gorgeous. And then another Christchurch friend is Michael, who does music with Michael, and she has some really neat little kind of morning and afternoon kids music groups that she runs virtually. Also, likewise, a really wonderful team that I've got to know this year are the Loopy Tunes sisters. That's Sue and Leah, and they write a lot of music in te reo, which is the indigenous language of New Zealand. So that's really fascinating and incredible. So this year I know they've been busy putting out books and songs, and I haven't got to meet them, but you know, the funny thing is when you do so much virtually and chats and live streams, you feel like you know people really well, even though you might never have actually shaken their hand.
Thank you for the name dropping.
And I could tell you way more. There's lots more here in Auckland.
We're here to talk about you, Claudia. So let's hear more about you. In the background, you've got a rocket flying through the sky there.
Oh yeah, so you can see behind me here. That's our gorgeous little red rocket. So that's the star of a couple of my new music videos. And really lucky that I've got some friends who I used to work with, because I used to edit promos and ads on television. And so part of that job, I worked with lots of great designers. And one of the guys who worked at TVNZ with me and then left to start his own business, him and his wife, who's an illustrator, have been helping me make the videos for this album. His name's Simon, her name's Kitty, and together they do this gorgeous stuff. So they made the rocket and brought it all to life in these gorgeous videos recently.
Curious kids are dreaming of a rocket ride. Rocket ride. Curious kids are dreaming of a rocket ride. Rocket man, won't you take my tiny satellite to space, orbiting so we can hear galaxies both far and near. Southern lights, Kiwi style, dreaming of a rocket ride. Rocket ride. Rocket ride.
Cool, thank you. And I just saw you got an ukulele there. Is that it?
Yeah, so that's my most recent ukulele. I'm ashamed to admit I have a bad habit of buying many ukuleles, way more than any one person. I don't even play it very well. I very much just strum away, and I'm still learning. And but this one is the most gorgeous, isn't it?
Will you strum away a song?
I sing you the one of the ones about stars. So up here behind me, on the album, the other artwork for the album mostly is done by me. So I kind of have been teaching myself how to do digital illustrations and things. So that picture is on the album called Earth, Sweet Earth. And the idea is that's, I mean, in my imagination, that's Mother Nature as a child, trying to kind of like look after the planet and stuff. So early morning in the winter, gazing at the skyline, bundled up in blankets, waiting for the sunrise. We are stars, dreaming of stars. We are stars, dreaming of stars. And so on.
Wow, beautiful. Star streaming
Thank
star.
you. I wasn't going to play you something, but there you go. It would be rude not to.
I'm blessed. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Very beautiful.
That's okay.
Right, I'm just a bit speechless now. I've got to find some words.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, I can tell you about, I'd love to tell you that on the album,
Yeah.
we're lucky here in New Zealand, and much like a lot of other countries, I think, have similar schemes. And I think Canadian broadcasting has something, and Australia has the ABC. So here in New Zealand, we have a great body, this is probably backwards for you, called New Zealand On Air, and they have recently started supporting New Zealand musicians making music for kids. And so I was really lucky last year. I got a grant with a little bit of money to put towards making my songs a bit better than just me on my ukulele recording into my iPad would sound. So I got to spend that money with a producer called Tom from a company called The Sound Room, and he took all my sessions and kind of tweaked and added and put in bass lines and tidied up, and we re-recorded vocals, and then I also got a little bit of funding to bring on the videographers. So I guess I just have to put a massive shout out to NZ On Air, because you know, anytime you make music these days, I think it's all a labour of love, and we do it for the kids, not really expecting a lot back apart from lots of good warm fuzzies and positive experiences and a great time when you get to actually do a show, right? So it's really special to kind of have support, to kind of have a vision in your mind and imagine what if dreams were free, what would you do, you know? So I always think any artist often has big ideas, and a big idea can either stop you because you're like, how am I going to get that happen? Oh, it's too big, I won't even start. But then I think it's better to have big ideas and try, because you might not reach what you had in mind, but you'll get halfway, right? And you'll still kind of be further along a pathway to creative fulfillment or whatever you're looking for.
Your voice is beautiful, your music's beautiful, and then you also do beautiful illustrations as well.
Thank you.
Claudia, I could carry on all day.
Totally.
I'd love to carry on this conversation over and over again, but
I think, well, we'll have to just do it again, because, you know, to be fair, I think I want to interview you next time, because I've got so many questions. I want to know more about the children's music scene, such as it may be in Switzerland and in Europe. You know, I think there's so much we can learn from each other.
I definitely agree. There is so much more. Thank you very much. Have a lovely...
Thank you so much, Sam.
You're very welcome. Thank you for taking time to talking to me in Zurich, Switzerland, and it's amazing talking to New Zealand. Thank you for all your inputs. Thank you for your song.
Wonderful.
And thank you for your music. And,
awesome. We'll keep in touch.
Hopefully.
And you know, I'm really stoked to be a fan of your show. So it's awesome.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. See you later. Bye.